It is Tuesday night, and we are live for round number 6, the midway mark of the season for the County Road Custom Late Model Challenger. Tonight, the B&A signs 125 from the Bullring in Las Vegas. I am Jeff By Jr., joined by Bill Tomer in the broadcast booth. And Bill, we had a pretty rough race last night. The Challenger Series guys, they tend to one-up the Late Model Shootout Series guys. When they have a bad night, they come through with a huge race, good racing. And tonight, we've got, just near 40 cars trying to go for just 26 spots in tonight's feature event. Just making the field here is going to be a real tall task.
So difficult, and this is their opportunity, right, Jeff? This is the opportunity for the Late Model Challenger Series guys to show out and compare themselves to Late Model Shootout Series. Shootout Series guys left the door open with that race last night, but Jeff, we've strapped on new helmets, and we're ready to go for another night, part 2 of our 2-night foray to the Bullring. And I'm ready to see this. I hope that these guys do put on a show for us tonight and do show us how this place can actually race.
Yeah, absolutely. 38 cars going to be going for 26 spots as we head into Wisconsin Weeds and Walleyes qualifying. Top 18 going to move on directly to the A main. So qualifying so important here, especially if you're in the points race, because it's 5 bonus points on the line plus $5 from Wisconsin Weeds and Walleyes as we are ready for qualifying. Cars going to start to take to the racetrack. David Hill on the racetrack already.
Got some newcomers in the field, Jeff.
Yeah, a few newcomers that signed up today. So we'll one of them, I believe, one of the Bones, Cody Bohm's brother, is now racing with us. It's Jacob Bohm making his debut tonight. Cody Bohm goes top of the board right off the bat in the 78 machine, and now he gets bumped by Bladen Edwards, 15.003. Pretty darn close to that would have been second quick in the Late Model Shootout Series. So that's flying for Bladen Edwards right there.
Well, we're not all that shocked. It is Bladen Edwards, former Late Model Challenger Series champion.
Mason Johnson, P2, Jason Warren, P3. Right now, AJ Rogers at 4th, AJ Chansey 5th. Hunter Harriet, second on the board, 15.026 for Hunter. Chad Miller returns to the series. He just ran a 15.077, good enough for 6th place, as Aaron Abendroth goes 5th overall. We did see a 14.9. One driver, Josh Cottle, ran a 14.9 last night. So it is possible. We'll see if anybody here is able to pull a lap like that off. And it's going to take a 14.9 to beat Bladen Edwards at this point. Jeff By Sr. in the house. Ryan Frick here said Mason the Rock Johnson. Keith Harriet here cheering for Hunter. Still waiting on some drivers to make qualifying last. Michael Kirchner just pulling onto the racetrack right now. Lee Norton out on the racetrack. JP Bergeron to 4th on the board, 15.056 for JP. JP, the points leader in the series, got 2-point advantage over Reagan Parent, and Reagan did not have a great qualifying run, so this is going to be possibly points for JP. Maybe extend that points lead before the main event even starts tonight. Bill, I think you might be muted.
I am muted, Jeff. Thank you for that. I was still dealing with a little bit of sickness. Every once in a while I do cough. I apologize for that. Didn't want to cough in anybody's ear.
Well, Bill, this is going to be a huge B main. We were 1 car short of it splitting. So 21 car single B main. Tap outs and touchdowns in the house. So Bladen Edwards going to pick up his 3rd Wisconsin Weeds and Walleyes quick time award of the season. So Bladen's already made money He'd pay $10 to enter. He's already won 15. So a nice start to the first part of the season for Bladen Edwards.
That's how you
As
get it done, right? Comp your money back.
Yeah, so he's already making money right now as we get set to go for the B main on the pole, the 85, Lee Norton on the outside of him, and the LFOD Motorsports number 12, it's Tony Quadros.
Starting third in the number 01 car, that is Caleb W. Hill, and to his outside in the number 31, it's Brad Carpenter.
Starting fifth tonight in number 3 car, it's David Hill on the outside of him, and the car 71 is Uncle Peter Fisher.
William Griffith will roll off P7 in the 12, and to his outside in the number 8, it's Sam Wetstein.
Starting ninth will be Cody Bohm on the outside of him, and the 10th position will be the 43 of Josh Cole.
Starting in the 11th position, that is the number 2 car, Todd Cousins, and starting 12th to his outside of the number 39, it's Scott Negus.
Starting 13th will be car 92, Dylan Schreiner on the outside of him. The 09, it's the Joker, Elliot Carlson.
Jacob Bohm's going to roll off P15 in the number 30, and to his outside in the 03, that's Jason Lodridge.
Starting 17th will be the 156 of Michael Kirshner on the outside of him. In the car number 17, Mr. Thunderstruck himself, Josh Oswald.
James Pileski was scheduled to roll off P19. Looks like he's going to park the car, Jeff. He was P3 last week. Drew Chance is going to roll off P20 in the number 26.
And newcomer to the series, CJ Grooms in the car number 22, going to start at the tail end of the field. One of those, I believe, a late model stock racer from the South Carolina area, going to make his debut here in the Challenger Series, and he is going to do it the hard way. He's going to start from the tail end of the B main. So 20 cars on the racetrack, 8 going to move on to the night's feature event. Going to make our 26 car field, and this is a stacked B main, Bill. I'm looking even back into like 14th, 15th place. There are some cars back there that are pretty darn fast, and they got a lot of cars to pass. As Lee Norton getting set to take us green flag racing for the B main, he is off and away. Gonna leave Tony Quadros behind to battle with Caleb Hill.
And that is a lot of race cars for 25 laps. Hopefully we get some green flag racing. Some of these guys want to transfer into tonight's race. Caleb Hill going to take second. Tony Quadros slots back into third.
David Hill, Peter Fisher collected in a wreck on the back straightaway. Scott Negus gets collected. Josh Cole involved. And those guys were inside the top, in the top 8. Somehow get collected going down the back straightaway.
Oh, Peter Fisher was on the outside, and I think the 3 of David Hill just goes up and kind of chops the nose off. See him down the back straightaway here. Hill just walked up the racetrack, and that caught Peter Fisher out. And from that point on, Negus is involved. Josh Cole involved. It looks like David Hill walks up the racetrack just a little bit, enough to get in front of Peter Fisher. And that was the end of that one.
Big time damage there to a few cars. Peter Fisher, as he's slowing down, he got clobbered from behind by a couple cars, and heavy damage. I think Josh Cole, that you couldn't even get that car rolling. It was so heavily damaged. So Josh Cole out of this one already in the B main. I think Scott Negus took some serious damage.
An arced back straightaway here at the Bullring. Really short track, but that back straightaway never stops turning.
Yeah, and you got to be aware of it. And it really is one of those things. I think coming off the corner, sometimes these guys here clear. The outside here can get big runs. And I think it's one of those situations. They come off the corner, they hear clear, they start to move up the racetrack, and guess what? Here comes a car with a little more speed coming up your outside. And I think David Hill just didn't account for that one.
I will apologize in advance, Jeff, if we have any technical difficulties tonight. The area that I live in basically had the worst rains they've had in 100 years. Just this afternoon, we're talking inches and inches of rain. So, if I have any internet issues, that's probably why.
I saw some, I at least saw one of the pictures you sent on Facebook earlier, and sure looked like basically turned your yard into mud.
A swamp for a while. But we are back to green flag racing. Lee Norton gets a great jump on Tony Quadros. He'll be sent all the way down to the back straightaway. Battle in the sixth position here.
Yeah, battle's going to be on for 8th right now as Dylan Schreiner in the 2 car. That's Todd Cousins. They are battling for the 8th and final transfer spot. They got Elliot Carlson lurking back there in the 09. as well as Jacob Bohm in the 30 machine. Cousins going to try to get down in front of Elliott Carlson. Can he clear him? Not quite. The 09 is there.
Almost contact through 1 and 2 as Elliott Carlson had to chop the nose there. Cousins trying to find his way down, but Elliott Carlson's going to be to the inside the 98 car. That's Sam Wetstein. He's struggling on the top side. He got damaged from that earlier incident. He's been inside the transfer position. He's in the last transfer spot for that 98. Quite a bit of damage.
The 09 and the 2 are hooked together down the back straightaway. They're going to spin out, and this is going to cause a yellow. It's Todd Cousins, and it's like they just got hooked together.
I think that was the same thing we just saw with Peter Fisher and Hill. Looked very, very similar.
Yeah, they got together in the middle of 1 and 2, and it was like the 09 just couldn't get off the 2 car. They were just kind of stuck.
You kind of see Elliott's hands there. Maybe we'll take a look at a cockpit view of Elliott Carlson here. See if we can figure out what exactly happened to him.
Seems like the 2 kind of came down the racetrack, middle of the corner, and he gets on the right rear of the 09. The 09 can't get that car to stay low as he's getting kind of hooked in the right rear.
Elliott never really did turn it all the way left, though, Jeff. It's not like, I think he thought he still had room up there.
Yeah, it was just kind of a weird one. Just 2 cars getting together, and then they just couldn't quite get off of each other. Had a chance there, and then they end up 3 wide with Jacob Bohm. Just ran out of room.
I think that's what Elliott's probably hearing, his car low, so he doesn't want to turn down too hard. Unfortunately, those guys battling right outside the transfer spot, and with the Sam Wetstein car that's struggling. They had a chance of possibly getting into tonight's main event, but probably going to be a much more difficult task now.
Yeah, Elliott Carlson on pit road. So Lee Norton's your leader with Tony Quadros, Caleb Hill, Brad Carpenter, William Griffith, Cody Bohm, Dylan Schreiner, and Sam Weststein in the top 8. And those are the transfer positions. Todd Cousins going to restart 9th with Jacob Bohm, Jason Lottridge, Michael Kirchner, Josh Oswald, CJ Grooms, Peter Fisher, Drew Chance, Scott Negus, David Hill still out there. Looks like Elliott Carlson's coming back on the racetrack right now, so he's going to start from the tail end of the field. We get set to go racing back again on lap 5 of this 25-lap B main, but strict time limit, you might not actually get there. We are off and away. Lee Norton gets a nice restart. And that's going to allow Tony Quadros to jump out into 2nd. As Caleb Hill into 3rd. Brad Carpenter has got William Griffith coming up the inside, makes some contact with the 31. Heck of a save from Carpenter, and then they're wrecking behind them. Huge wreck behind them.
Wow. We got some cars on top of cars. Josh Oswald's car is blown up.
Yeah, it looked like everybody was checking up for Brad Carpenter, who was on the apron trying to make the save. Jason Lottridge just kind of got clobbered in the middle of all that, as well as the 2 of Todd Cousins. It was kind of 2 similar incidents happening at the exact same time.
Well, they were already 3 wide, Jeff. Going down the back straightaway. It does happen in front of them, but the 03 car, Lottridge, he backs up with all the stuff happening. Cousins got hit. Everybody just... It's ridiculous. I don't know how to call that.
Gotta be aware of what's happening in front of you. You see smoke, there's fire, right? So unfortunately, some of these guys towards the back weren't lifting there for that one. But a huge break for Brad Carpenter because he was out of shape, gets that car saved. Going to restart 4th here with William Griffin 5th, Cody Bohm 6th, Dylan Schreiner 7th, Sam Weststein should restart in the 8th position. Jacob Bohm will restart 9th, Michael Kirchner up to 10th. Looks like Peter Fisher up to 11th. Drew Chance should restart 12th. And this was going to be a single file restart this time because they did not complete a lap. So, Bill, some of our Monday night drivers hanging out in the chat watching this one. Josh Parrish with us, Trevor Edwards, Aaron Johnson. They are enjoying the show, so to speak. as we get set to go racing. Lee Norton back on the loud pedal in this B main, trying to put himself into the feature event later on tonight. Lee opening up a huge lead, so the battle is on for 8th and final transfer spot is Weststein. He's got Jacob Bohm trying to chase him down in car number 30, and he is getting to the inside of the 98 machine now.
Bohm going to look to the inside. Weststein in that 98 car. He is struggling. That car has a lot of damage from that first incident in this race. He's been able to hold on to the transfer spot until now. He goes to the apron, but smart man, he doesn't make any contact with the 30 car. 30 car moves on. He's in a transfer spot.
Behind them, Peter Fisher trying to get around Michael Kirchner. This is outside those transfer spots, but if they catch a yellow, they would be in a good place to maybe challenge later in this race. As here comes Drew Chance in that all-black machine trying to move forward as well. That's car number 26 with no numbers on it.
These guys digging, trying to get back towards the front of this field. There's a 3-wide situation right here going into the corner. Contact between Kirchner and Hill. And now Elliot Carlson going to make contact with Hill as they come off of 4.
Yeah, those two have already been involved tonight, and now Elliot Carlson going to dive it down through 1 and 2, make a little bit more contact as David Hill gets ruffled out of the way. And he's going to come back underneath the 09, going to try that crossover, just can't quite get there. It's Michael Kirchner got loose, Todd Cousins and Jason Lottridge going to go around the outside of him now.
Kirchner going to slide the car through 1 and 2. There goes Todd Cousins in the 2. Todd Cousins has a broken race car, Jeff. That thing is beat.
Yeah, it's a handful right now. He's struggling to drive that thing. Still Jacob Bohm in the 8th and final transfer spot is Dylan Schreiner putting the pressure on his brother Cody Bohm in front of them. Dylan going to back off there, just ride this one out as we are green flag racing here in the B main. It's all Lee Norton out front. He is gapped about half a second over Tony Quadros. Now Cody Bohm on the move. He's going to dive under William Griffith. This is a battle for 5th on the racetrack. And Dylan Schreiner going to take the opportunity to try to go around William as well.
All inside the transfer spot, so be careful, gentlemen. You've got a big gap between you and the rest of the guys that are trying to find their way in. And they do that as William Griffith's going to drop 2 spots, but still in the 9th A-main.
Yeah, William just going to let them go, slot down in front of Jacob Bohm, who holds on to that 8th and final transfer spot. Drew Chance is kind of broken out ahead of that second pack in the 9th position, and there's the caution he needed as trouble on the back straightaway. It's Elliot Carlson and David Hill again on the back straightaway.
These guys have been really going at it. I think there's been some serious frustration between these drivers.
Well, I just got to look at
go back a little ways here.
Oh man, I just got to look at the replay and wow.
We're going to back up. Elliot Carlson has had a better day. Here he gets involved in an issue with Negus and Peter Fisher. Carlson slides to avoid.
And then he finds the 3 car, which he's had some issues with tonight, and they decide to basically wear the wraps off those cars.
Oh my goodness! Throwing the car at the 3, and then the 3 just says, you know what, that's not going to work for me. I think Elliot Carlson was a little frustrated. I think the 3 came off of turn 4 a little low, and I think that's what made Elliot mad.
Yeah.
I don't usually see Elliot drive like that, but he's just off the wall. I think David's off the wall, maybe a tick, and Elliot's just upset.
I feel like iRacing gave us a full moon this week at Las Vegas, because I am seeing stuff from these guys I've never seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, even last night there was guys that they're the coolest, nicest guys you've ever seen, and they were
Elliot Carlson.
Yeah,
we just see that.
They were just absolutely ready to brawl last night. So here we go, the Bullring breeding out the tempers, and now this is going to give a chance to Drew Chance to maybe try to work his way into the field. Sam Weststein going to restart 9th. It's like Drew's having some connection issues. He's going to dive down pit road.
Oh, Jeff, and we've got a checkered flag out right now.
Well, we did hit the time limit, so that is it.
Barney tossing the checkered flag at the field. Those are going to be your transfers. Lee Norton, Tony Quadros, Caleb Hill, Brad Carpenter, Cody Bohm, Dylan Schreiner, William Griffith, and Jacob Bohm moving on to tonight's 26 car A main.
So your driver's not going to make it: Sam Westine, Scott Negus, Jason Lottridge, CJ Groons, Michael Kirchner, David Hill, Drew Chance, Peter Fisher, Todd Cousins, Elliot Carlson, Josh Oswald, Josh Cole, and James Pileski going to miss the field tonight. Again, 39 drivers. We're going for just 26 spots in tonight's feature event. And now these guys get a second to get their wits about them, cool down, and we're going to get set to go racing for tonight's B&A Signs 125.
I don't think it's just these guys, Jeff. I think we need some help as well.
Well, we do.
It's been such an interesting racetrack. I will not do it in real life, but I think in iRacing, I'm going to light this track on fire.
Well, we should talk about the TP3D penalty report, and some driver is going to be going to the rear of the field tonight. That is Jason Warren. David Hill did not make the race, so he will have to serve that EOL at a different night. But the one car of Caleb Hill did make the race, and he will have to start at the rear of the field. So the 45 and the 1 to the rear of the field due to previous penalties. And the built 6 invert tonight. So I believe that's the minimum invert, right? So that's
minimum
the break
is
for Blake.
4. Minimum is 4.
4.
So
okay. So
it could have been. There could have been less damage for the Quick Time Award winner, the Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes Quick Time Award winner, Bladen Edwards. He will have to start 6th on the evening. Bad news about that is he starts on the outside line.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger award $5 to the driver that gains the most positions from their official starting spot in tonight's feature event. Will pick up a $5 bonus courtesy Adobe Mountain Speedway. And I believe warm-up should be coming to an end, so we're getting set to go racing here. The second race of the week, and we still got more coming at you later on this week. Again, Sarah Super Series from North Wilkesboro. That is the Studio 10 Wraps 125 from North Wilkesboro, and I know some of these guys immediately after this is over are going to be going to work on their open setup stuff. Well, it's time to start gridding for tonight's B&A Signs 125. Remember, check out on our stream right now. You can find a link to go look at B&A Signs Facebook page. Make sure you give them a like and a follow. We do appreciate that. It helps us out a ton when you guys support the people that support our hobby. On the pole for tonight's B&A Signs 125 in car number 65. That is Aaron Abendroth on the outside of him. This driver is going to be going to the rear of the field due to a penalty from last week. The 45, it's Jason Warren.
Starting 3rd in the number 18 car, that is John Philippe Bergeron. And to his outside in the number 7, that's Mason Johnson.
Starting 5th, this guy was a winner earlier this season at Langley, the 81 of Hunter Harriet. On the outside of him, your Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes Quick Time Award, the 72 of Bladen Edwards.
Starting 7th in the number 46 machine, it is Chad Miller. And to his outside, the winner from last week in the 2 machine, that is Mark Keeterman.
Starting 9th tonight in car number 22, it's Blake Thronberg on the outside of him. In the 17 machine, it's AJ Rogers.
Starting 11th in the number 2 car, it is JJ Chansey. And to his outside in the number 12, in the 8, in 12th position in the 8, that's Braxton Deweese.
Starting 13th tonight in car number 2, it's Josh Kosick on the outside of him. This guy sits 2nd in points coming into the night, the 17 of Reagan Parent.
Kiernan Church rolls off P15 in the number 22 car to his outside of the number 38, that's Travis Roma.
Starting 17th tonight in car number 50, it's Craig Tolley on the outside of him. And car 21, his debut in the Challenger Series, it's Carter Russo.
Main winner this evening in the 85 car will start 19th. That's Lee Norton, and to his outside of the number 12, Tony Quadros.
Starting 21st tonight, going to go to the rear of the field due to a penalty will be the 1 car of Caleb W. Hill. Starting on the outside in 22nd position will be the 31 of Brad Carpenter.
Starting 23rd in the number 78 car, it is Cody Boehm, and to his outside in the 92, it's Dylan Schreiner.
Starting 25th in car number 12, it'll be William Griffith on the outside of him. And car number 30, another driver making his debut in the series, going to start dead last in tonight's field. It's Jacob Boehm. 26 cars strong, down from 39 that entered tonight. And they are set to go for the B&A Signs 125. Going to see the pace truck go around one more time for Aaron Abendroth. Reagan Parent saying, "Come on, guys, let's go green to checker tonight." And that would be an accomplishment if these guys can find a way to go green to checkered at the Bullring. This is a tough racetrack. We saw it last night, but it's one of those places. It's inviting. It can open up the into the corners. It opens up your arc and it allows people to dive underneath you.
Yeah, that becomes the issue, is the guys just start going after you as soon as you try to arc the corner too much, and we see that's going to be an issue, and you're going to see some contact made because of it. But it can create some good racing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of ways to pass here, different lines. There's going to be different strategies. Here we go, pace truck. Gonna go around one more time.
One more time. The pace truck, maybe Richard Petty's driving the pace truck. They're calling him in, and he's saying no. As it happened in Darlington when he was driving his old throwback car. Richard Petty didn't want to park it.
Well, Bladen Edwards going to catch a break because Jason Warren had to go to the rear of the field. Bladen going to move up to fourth, so going to move up a row. That's going to move Mason Johnson up onto the front row as well. So Aaron Abendroth, Mason Johnson, your points leader, JP Bergeron, going to start third tonight. We are going green. Aaron Abendroth takes his green for the B&A Signs 125.
Abendroth gets a really nice jump there as he's going to clear Mason Johnson and JP Bergeron. Bergeron's going to look to the inside of Mason Johnson for second. And Hunter Harriet was able to get in front of Bladen Edwards, but now Bladen Edwards going to fight back on the inside coming off the floor.
Yeah, Mason Johnson slots in the third. Bladen Edwards, Hunter Harriet battle for the fourth spot. Behind them, it's Chad Miller in car number 46. He's running in the fifth position. Last week's winner, Mark Keatman, into the seventh position. And Chad Miller got together with the 81. Harriet able to get down in line now. JJ Chansey on the move as he dives underneath Blake Throneberg into turn 3. This is the first battle on the racetrack. Chansey going for 8th here.
He'll clear.
He gets the spot, and then Kosick goes for it as well. So Throneberg wasn't able to get to the bottom. Here comes Josh Kosick moving forward. Can Throneberg get down in front of Braxton DeWeese? He does. He's going to shut the door on the 8 machine.
You saw DeWeese make a move there as well, Jeff, as he moves up into the 11th position in that 8 car.
Well, Aaron Abendroth out front, and we're already seeing different lines. You can see JP Bergeron running a much different line than Aaron did last time by. And Aaron's car kind of pushing up the racetrack on exit. And JP kind of rolling the center a little bit better, keeping that car a little bit lower on the racetrack.
A little bit farther back, Cody Bohm going to go look to the inside of Kieran Church. That's a battle for the 17th position. Here comes Craig Tully as well as he's trying to make the move on Church, who's up on the high side. Another battle on the racetrack. AJ Rogers and Reagan Parent, 217s going at it as they're battling for the 12th spot.
JP going for the lead as he dives underneath Aaron Abendroth off turn 4. He's got the spot. Abendroth going to possibly lose another one. Couldn't get down the racetrack. Here comes Mason Johnson looking for second.
Mason Johnson on the inside through 3 and 4. Here comes Bladen Edwards in the 72. Abendroth up the racetrack in the 65. Here comes Hunter Harriet in the 81. All those drivers lined up nose to tail, looking to go by your early leader.
Yeah, Hunter Harriet going to try to go by Aaron Abendroth now. Chad Miller's lined up. So is Mark Keatman. So Abendroth, he's finally going to find a spot in line, but he's going to sail all the way back into the 7th position. Behind them, JJ Chansey and Josh Kosick are dueling it out for the 9th spot. Actually, make that the 8th position. JP Bergeron opening up the lead early, about half a second over Mason Johnson. The rest of the field just lined up single file behind Mason Johnson. The best battle right now, Blake Throneberg trying to go around Kosick, who got up the racetrack as JJ Chansey clears them. Here comes Braxton DeWeese now trying to take advantage of Kosick.
DeWeese in the 8, Kosick in the 2. This is a battle for that 11th position. DeWeese on the bottom. He's going to prevail as he goes by Kosick. Here comes Reagan Parent in the 17. Said last night, Jeff, the high lane is the sucker hole here at the Bullring. Once you get up there, there's not a whole lot you can do. You just got to find your way back down at some point. Here comes Carter Russo in the 21. First time we've seen him in the series this week.
Well, Carter's
above there from AJ Rogers. They went through 3 and 4.
Yeah, that might help Kosick out a bit as Carter Russo got bumped and kind of slowed his momentum, but Russo fights back and not going to leave any room for the 2 of Josh Kosick to get to the bottom. So again, Kosick just in trouble here, stuck on the outside and can't find a hole. JJ Chansey now up on the outside of the racetrack as well as Thronberg goes past him. Here comes Braxton DeWeese, and JJ going to drop in. Reagan throws it in there. That's Reagan. Parent the 17 gets sideways off turn 4. He's going to self-spin it.
Did it to himself.
Just a little aggressive, trying to keep the 2-car from getting down the racetrack. He saw an opportunity to pick up a spot, and he just drove it a little too hard to try to get there.
Gets on the apron, tries to get back to the throttle. Car just was unloaded. Spun it to the infield. Hey, Jeff, round of applause for the Late Model Challenger Series,
absolutely.
guys. Come on. That was the longest run we've seen all week.
Yeah, 16 laps green there to start that one off, and a lot of respect there to start it off. And the way it started up last night, it could have got really ugly, and these guys did a fantastic job. So well done to the Challenger Series boys, given a lot of room and respect. And that's going to open up the door for something we didn't see last night, which was tire management, tire wear, which this car is, that's what this car is good for, right? And this is going to make this a race where you actually have to save your stuff. You can't just go hard as you can. And right now, JP Bergeron might be thinking, hey, what the heck happened? Why are they actually racing green flag tonight?
Exactly. I mean, this is completely different than we saw last night. Like you said, tire wear might come into play if they continue to race like this, but that's fun to watch. These guys doing exactly what needs to be done. The Late Model Shootout Series couldn't figure it out last night, and tonight, the Late Model Challenger Series so far, 17 laps, 19 laps into the event, with 17 green flag laps. These guys were doing it like you're supposed to do it here on the iRacing service, and shout out to these guys, man. These guys, they're all looking to make their way, and most of them are looking to make their way up into the Late Model Shootout Series, where I guess you can run for the big money. Both series pay a purse, but the big money's in the Late Model Shootout Series, and really, I guess the big, what would you call it, Jeff? Like the big reputation, the prestige is up there in the Late Model Shootout Series. And so that's where they're looking to go, and these guys, when they do something like that, you start to feel really good about what they're able to do, and you watch some really good racing happening here in the Bullring, which we did not see last night.
Well, Bladen Edwards up to the 3rd spot was started 4th, officially going to be scored 6th. So he is up 3 positions from his official starting spot. Mark Keatman started 8th up to 5th. Braxton DeWeese started 12th. He is up to 9th. Carter Russo started 18th from the B main, is up to 11th. So shout out to Carter Russo, looking for that Dobie Mountain Speedway Hard Charger Award. It's still early in this one. A lot can change as we get set to double file restart here with JP Bergeron and Mason Johnson out front. Pace car going to head off the racetrack. JP Bergeron, Mason Johnson, and Mason kind of getting out in front of JP, trying to get an idea when JP's going to hit the gas, hoping he sees him first before he has to take off. And didn't exactly help Mason Johnson, but it wasn't a bad restart. I just don't think he's going to get down in front of Bladen Edwards here.
Bladen Edwards going to go to the inside of Mason Johnson. He'll take that spot away. Battle's going to be on for 4th. You see Mark Keateman, the gentleman who won last week in that number 2 car. He's starting to make his way forward after starting in the 7th position. Now he's looking for a 4th position as Hunter Harriet caught on the outside. We got a spinner in 1. I think it's Carter Russo. Yeah,
Carter Russo got a bump there going into turn 1, gets turned around. It looked like Lee Norton involved, the 50 of Craig Tully, AJ Rogers, Dylan Schreiner, Caleb Hall. But to tell you what, I don't think there was a whole lot of damage to anybody. So I think we're still going to have 26 cars running in this race.
And you talked about it in the drivers meeting, Jeff, the checkups that go down into turn number 1. And that's exactly what we saw here, is there was just a huge stack up as they went, I believe they were 3 wide.
Yeah, they were 3 wide just behind the lead group.
Multiple cars go around.
And I think Carter Russo checked up. It was Cossack that got into the back of him as he had to check up. And it looked like Cossack was getting pushed by AJ Rogers and Lee Norton as well. So just that whole inside line stacked up there.
Craig Tully went around, Lee Norton went around. I believe AJ Rogers went around as well. Yeah, he did. That's that stack up, that accordion effect we've seen happen. We saw it last night, like we talked about before the race, Jeff. You warned them and said, hey, This is going to happen for about 5 laps. And there it is on a restart. Something we're pretty familiar with.
Yeah, that is going to set us up for, I believe, actually, we're going to have a double file, so they did get a lap in there. But again, just a little bit of an accordion effect on the bottom. There was like 4 cars that were just all kind of pushing each other. And once one guy had to check up, if you're pushing the guy already in the center of the corner, if he has to lift for anything, he's going around. And unfortunately, it collected all of those guys that were pushing there on the bottom.
It's interesting how your mind resets, Jeff, when you get a nice, decent little long run or a 17-lap run there on the initial start. You kind of forget how the start went on the previous start, the initial start of the race. So you go for a restart and you're like, okay, I've been running the corner this way for 17 laps, and you forget that, look out, there might be a checkup happening, and that's what happens. You just go back into I'm gonna go, here's my rhythm, and you just can't do it.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit more aware that if people aren't going to be carrying the center speed that they had been previously, especially when you were all single file. It's JP Bergeron. Now Bladen Edwards on the front row. They're going to swap spots with Mason Johnson. Mason Johnson will restart third with Hunter Harriet. Fourth, Mark Keatman. Fifth, JP back on the loud pedal. Going to be clear of Bladen Edwards. Edwards going to fight back on the outside here.
Edwards did a nice job through turns 1 and 2 as he is on the high side. That's Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes quick time award winners. He's going to try to cross JP over going down into turn number 1. Can't make the move.
Well, he did get to the bottom, and he is there, and now they're 3 wide behind him. Aaron Abendroth getting attacked there further back, but here comes Bladen Edwards looking for the lead on JP Bergeron, your points leader. Going to possibly get past at the line. Looked like Bladen had it by a nose.
Here comes Mason Johnson in the 70. He's going to try to take second away from JP Bergeron. And now the Sharks are circling Jeff as here comes Keaneman. He gets into the back of JP Bergeron going into 3, just a little nudge, and they'll go single file through the top 5.
Caution further on back. It's Lee Norton around in turn 3. And he's going to spin that car into the pit area. And he got together with Jacob Boehm in the 30 car.
I think we saw this one in the B mains, Jeff, where the back straightaway just catches guys out, just
almost identical.
Way out there. It's way out. You got a car above you. Car high, buddy.
Yeah, Jacob's on the outside. He's just letting everybody go. He got caught 3 wide going into 1, and he backed out of it, let everybody go. And Lee Norton goes up the middle 3 wide, and I think he thinks he's going to be clear, and the 30's just still there.
We're going to take a look for the first time from the Stinger Motorsports chopper cam. It's a big, wide racetrack. That's just my thought on that one. Unfortunately, Lee looks like he's done for the evening, and that didn't need to happen. He just need to turn left. He'd be around that 30 car.
Yeah, I just misjudged it there. I think he thought he was going to be clear. Maybe he was thinking, hey, the 30's way off the pace, but by that point, Jacob's starting to pick the pace back up down the back straightaway. He only lifted for the 1 and 2 just to get out of the 3 wide. And he's starting to pick the pace back up, and Lee just misjudged that one just slightly. And unfortunately, he ends up in the wall.
Our B main winner done for the evening. The 85 car out of the race. He's already put it on the trailer. Drove it right to the trailer, Jeff.
So Corey Bigley in the house. He's cheering for the Revelry and SPM drivers. Brett Suggs here, and he would say Brett Suggs would say Chancey Caustic around dude and I. And those guys, they were actually racing with each other in the opening laps, and they were keeping it pretty clean. So hopefully, no animosity boiling over from last night with JJ and Josh Caustic. Jeff By Senior cheering for Dylan Schreiner. Aaron Plemons here cheering for Josh Caustic and the 2 Machine, who is running 7th. Behind him, JJ Chancey runs 8th. So 1 car out of this race. That's Lee Norton going to finish 26th tonight. Still got 25 cars on the lead lap as we double them up. Now Bladen Edwards, your new leader. He's going to have Mason Johnson on the outside of him for this restart. Pace truck off the racetrack. The 72, Bladen Edwards will have control as they hit the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing restart zone. Bladen went earlier than expected for Mason Johnson. That's his right. He gets to go. And Mason Johnson going to slip down in front of JP Bergeron, but Bladen Edwards is checked out.
Battle is on for third. JP Bergeron in the bottom. Mark Kedeman on the outside. There's Braxton Deweese in the 8. He's in this battle as well. And then there's Hunter Harriet in the 81. Looking on right behind them, Josh Kosick, JJ Chansey. Now JP Bergeron going to prevail in that battle against Kedeman. Here comes Braxton Deweese in the 8 car looking for the 4th spot.
Caution further back in the field. I see AJ Rogers around in turn 2. And I think he might have got a little friendly fire from his teammate. As I heard Jason Warren say on the radio, that was all my fault.
Now, I think he got Tony Quadros. That was ahead of them, and I think AJ Rogers gets caught in it after that caution happened. So I think Quadros was the original. Oh, yeah, he tries to get down behind Quadros going down into turn number 1. As there's no room. Reagan Parent's there as well. We can see as they go into turn number 1, Quadros gets turned sideways. Reagan Parent, nice job to avoid. Brad Carpenter's caught in it. And then AJ Rogers goes around as he probably got hit while checking up. Let's check it out. Yep, looks like Carter Russo gets into the back of the 17 car. Spins him around as they avoid the spun car Quadros.
Well, big moment there for Reagan Parent. Again, second in points. All right behind that one. Had to kind of dive to the apron. And car number 17 to avoid that one. Quadros going to hit pit road along with Kieran Church.
So, Jeff, as we go on through this race, we have fewer and fewer drivers who are going to have an entry into the SD Ireland Cancer Research Fund Clean Driver Award for the evening. Looked like we might have a really good race, Jeff, and we cheered it, and look what we did. But you saw it. Jason Warren there is just trying to get to the bottom. The bottom. If you don't run on the bottom, you are going to go backwards. There is no buts about it. Won't be the same way next week at South Boston. South Boston, the top side, does tend to fight back. But here's at this track, you have to be on the bottom. So Jason Warren was doing everything he possibly can to get to that bottom. In a place that there was just no room, and he turns the car around as a result, and he goes to the back of the field.
Well, we talked about that TP3D penalty report. Jason Warren started tonight with an EOL due to 2 cautions caused. He did admit that it was his there, so he's going to go to the rear of the field, but that is a 3rd caution cause for Jason Warren, so he's probably going to miss next week at South Boston.
It's a risk reward, Jeff.
Yes, it is.
He took the risk of trying to get to the bottom, hoping for the reward that he would stay in line and not lose any more positions. And, well, he caused a caution, and now the reward is some missed time.
Well, Bladen Edwards taking us back to the BSRM restart zone. Mason Johnson out front. You can see Mason trying to inch ahead, just trying to get a little extra timing there on Bladen Edwards, and it didn't work at all. And Bladen Edwards is once again gone 4 or 5 car lengths at the start-finish line. It's JP Bergeron and Mason Johnson battling for second.
Yeah, that start really hurt Mason Johnson as Mark Kedeman going to cut across the nose of Braxton Deweese. I worry about things like that. A good job by the drivers behind him as Hunter Harriet gets a little bit sideways off turn 4.
Still battling for second. Mason Johnson not giving up on the outside as JP Bergeron trying to clear him. Just can't get that car to rotate through the center as Mason Johnson just pulls alongside of him every time they hit the straightaway. And Mark Keeman's kidding behind him, and he has got nowhere to go. Now Mason starting to fall back from the 18.
Racing happening all over this racetrack, Jeff. I'm watching the ticker. We got Cody Boehm. He's to the inside of the 65 of Aaron Abendroth. Aaron Abendroth not having a good race. He started on the pole. He's falling back to 12th. Here comes Reagan Parent in the 17. And Mason Johnson making a move as well.
Braxton Deweese got by Mason Johnson. Johnson back into the 5th spot now. Actually make that 5th spot actually. And now is back single file as Hunter Harriet under attack from Josh Kosick. Kosick to the inside looking for 6th.
Carter Russo just made a move on Blake Thronberg. That was a pass for 14th. Here comes Brad Carpenter in the 31. We've seen Brad had some issues earlier this evening, some damage on the front of that 31 car. He's making his way back forward as he's passing for 15th.
Well, field getting very single file. All the battling going on right now is further in the back as Aaron Avendroth loses another spot there to Carter Russo. And Bill, Aaron Avendroth switching sim rigs. We heard he went from, a regular sim rig to a motion rig, and that could take a while to adjust to. And I think that's part of Aaron's problem. He's just got to get adjusted to this new rig, and a little change like that can completely throw you off.
100% changing wheels, pedals, anything can really throw you off. To a motion rig, forget about it. I don't even know how you can do that. Go from sitting under.
JJ Chansey and Chad Miller got together. Everybody saves it. Now they're 3 wide, and trouble behind them as the caution's going to wave here in lap 52. It looks like Craig Tolley around off turn 4 in car number 50. It started with JJ and the 46.
Now, looks like possibly AJ Rogers was the first car not to see the checkup. We know it's almost impossible to see through these cars, and this track is really tight. There was a huge stack up, Jeff. You called it. Everybody's checking up, and Craig Tully does, and AJ Rogers doesn't. And that spins Tully around. It looks like Dylan Schreiner also got hit from behind. Let's go back to what happened. You said JJ Chansey was caught in some crazy stuff as we went through turns 3 and 4. Take a look at that as Chad Miller was battling the number 2 car. Ooh, a little bit of a dive bomb from Miller there. And they kept it going 3 wide. We got that live. That's what caused the initial stack up, and then you look behind him, and that's where you get all the craziness.
Well, Bill, under this caution, Chris DeWeese was saying we should check out the YouTube side. And we got Doug over there, Mike. It looks like Alan's art images handing out, Kelly here. A lot of people here for the Braxton DeWeese fan club over on the YouTube channel. They are watching live over there.
I hate to admit, I knew that group did hang out over there, Jeff. I went back and read their chats this week, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. But honestly forgot to. With all the mayhem we had last night, I wasn't really thinking about going over and checking YouTube, but that is cool that they're over there.
Well, Braxton Louise runs 4th on the racetrack right now. Car number 8. Bladen Edwards out front. Your quick qualifier has jumped out front, now being chased by JP Bergeron. Last week's winner, Mark Keatman. Braxton 4th. Mason Johnson 5th. Josh Kosick 6th. Hunter Harriet 7th. Chad Miller 8th. Cody Bohm 9th. JJ Chansey runs 10th.
If I remember next week, Jeff, I'll go over and hang out with the DeWeese fan club over on YouTube. Next week at South Boston. That'll be pretty fun. Cars are doubling up on the racetrack. About to see that beautiful iRacing old Silverado duck down into pit lane. Bladen Edwards decided he wanted to park underneath the back bumper there.
Well, Bladen has been mixing up the restarts. Gone early, he's gone late. He's going to take him way up the racetrack. I don't know if JP's going to appreciate that one, and that really threw JP off as Bladen Edwards got way up the racetrack. Mark Keatman going to be clear of JP at the start-finish line. Bladen is gone again. It's 5, 6, 7 car lengths down the back straightaway as Keatman and Bergeron battling for second.
Yeah, Keatman's going to shoot by. Braxton DeWeese caught on the high side. Chad Miller's got a challenge. He's got Bohm to his inside in that 78 car. Now he's going to clear him going down to turn number 1. Pretty sure Cody Bohm gave him a break there. Because now JP Bergeron, he's in trouble right now. He's back to 5th in the 18 car, and a bunch of cars lined up to go around him. That includes Hunter Harriet right now, who's to the inside in the 81 car. Braxton DeWeese there as well in the 8.
Caution is going to wave trouble in the back of the field. It's Jacob Bohm around in car number 30. Looks like he might have got tangled up with the 12 car of Tony Quadros.
Something happens there through turns 1 and 2. We'll take a look here with the 12 and the 30 car. Quadros just kind of stuck it 3 wide there, and then backed off of him, and then hit him. It's kind of an interesting situation there. That looks like a pretty solid C car don't hit car, Jeff. I hate to say
Yeah,
that.
Tony checked up because the 30 was there, and then it's like he picked up the throttle just in mid corner a little too early and kind of ran him over. Yeah, C car don't hit car situation. The 12, they were already towards the back of the field, but the 12 gonna go to the full rear. Bill, we have made the call to go to single file restarts for a bit here and see if we can get another one of those green flag runs we started with.
As we just passed the halfway mark in this race. Started a nice green flag run, Jeff, and then since then, everybody from about 20th on back has decided they need to run into each other.
Well, looking at the big movers right now, Josh Kosick started 13th. He is up to 4th. Braxton DeWee started 12th, up to 7th. Cody Boehm started 23rd. He is up to 9th. So a lot of runners in that Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger Award running. Carter Russo 18th to 12th right now. Travis Roma 16th to 10th. So a lot of people moving forward. A lot of the drivers moving backwards. Aaron Amadraw started on the pole, is back to 16th position. Jason Warren officially was slated starting second. He did have that penalty that put him to the back, and he is running 20th right now. But Bladen Edwards.
I was going to say, Jeff, to be fair, the guys that run between 15th and 24th, that is probably the hardest place to run because everybody in the field is checking up in front of you at every corner, right? So it isn't like it's easy to do what they're doing. But in a situation like we just saw, contact is avoidable, and we could still be racing green flag racing. There was great racing up front.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's a lot of leagues where you get back to the middle of the field and it's easy to work your way back to the front. This is not one of them.
Not one of them.
You can get back to the 17th, 18th position. Those are still fast guys back there that are hard to pass, and that's why you see everybody just fighting so hard because you just can't afford to get that far back into the field and still have a chance. Bladen Edwards, single file restart, going to take a screen. Mark Keatman behind him. Mason Johnson in third.
We already have trouble coming off of turn 4, Jeff. They did not even make it out of the corner.
That's Cody Boehm around in the car number 78.
Try to figure out what happens to him here. As we go through the turn, there was a checkup on, well, it's just a stack up on the restart. Everybody, I really don't understand what happened there. I think they were just all gapped a little bit. And as the leaders started to go for it. What happens up front here? There's more of an issue here. This is where it really starts. Oh, it's because Bladen Edwards started the race in turn 3.
Yeah, it just started so early that it really threw everyone off. But you know what it is? It's a lot of guys watching the cars up ahead and not the car directly in front of them.
Right, that too. Of course, I'm not sure if turn 3 is in the Brett Suggs Racing and Marketing Restart Zone.
Well, we do say it's once the pace car leaves the racetrack, and that, that's Bladen's right.
Unique experience here in Las Vegas. Yeah. The pace truck does leave in turn 3.
Well, Bill, we went quickie caution. We told everybody, hey, don't hit pit road. We're going to get this thing lined back up. It was a self-spin, or one car spin. So here we go. Pace truck going to head off the racetrack back in that BSRM restart zone. Bladen Edwards gets control of this one. He is off and away. And here we go.
We hope this will string guys out with him starting it so early. That's usually what it does, but they unfortunately wrecked in turns 3 and 4 that time. This time looks like we're green flag racing. Everybody's single file at the moment.
Yeah, no big movers just yet as everybody got really strung out. And we'll see what Bladen Edwards and Mark Keatman have right now as Mason Johnson. He's got the 2 car, Josh Kosick, kind of lurking behind him right now in that 4th spot. We're off in green flag racing. And again, I think Kosick might be the guy that's looking to move first here as Mason Johnson ahead of him. Just can't quite reach him though. Now I see Aaron Abendroth making a move on the 12 of William Griffith. This is back there in about 13th position for the 12 car. And William came out of the B mains, got a nice clean race car still in this one, running in the 13th spot from 25th tonight.
Certainly doesn't want to lose this position. Aaron Abendroth's going to push him up the racetrack. Reagan Parent right there in the 17. Aaron Abendroth going to make that pass on Griffith. Griffith up the hill just a little bit. Here comes Reagan Parent. This is going to be a battle for the 14th spot.
You know what I like, though? Aaron
Actually, that's
Abendroth,
AJ Rogers. We have to make them change their colors.
You know, I like that Aaron Abendroth, he showed the nose for a couple laps, and then William Griffith gave him the bottom. And he didn't try to chop him. He didn't try to hold him down. He just said, you know what, you're faster, go ahead right now.
It's called respect. It's called knowing your position, how your car's driving right now, strategy in your race. You don't necessarily need to force the issue here with 50 laps to go. Smart by William Griffith in the 12 car.
Absolutely. Bladen Edwards out front. Looks like we got a battle going on with Reagan Parent and JJ Chansey. It's a battle for 10th. And Reagan Parent just put himself into the top 10 as he gets around JJ Chansey. That's Blake Thronberg. Thronberg trying to take advantage as Chansey got into the wall down the back straightaway.
Chansey got real loose up off of turn number 2, slid the car down the back straightaway. Thronberg was able to go by. Now Chansey's trying to cross him over. Ooh, Thronberg tried to close the door going down in turn number 1. Now they're going to be side by side down the backstretch.
And Thronberg's thinking, hey, didn't I just pass you? And then he's going to try to do the crossover as well. But Chansey going to guard there on the bottom. That was a nice move to get to the bottom and defend there. And that's going to kind of slow Thronberg down. Here comes A.J. Rogers into the mix. Well, Chansey up the racetrack.
Yeah, Chansey just decided to defend the bottom going down in turn number 1, but that didn't work for his apex through the corner. So Thronberg able to slide it down underneath him coming off of turn number 2. And now here comes A.J. Rogers as Chansey's going to be forced up the hill. So Chansey probably would have been better served, Jeff, just to run his line down the front straightaway.
Yeah, it's that risk reward, right? And JJ spent a lot of time looking in the mirror, and now he's going to lose 2 spots here. Now he's under attack from Aaron Abendroth.
Out front, Bladen Edwards continues to lead this race in the 72 car. Mark Keedemann's moved into second place. He is trying to track down your Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes Quick Time Award winner in that 72, but Bladen Edwards is managing his pace right now. 45, 44 laps remaining in this race. Whoa! Bladen Edwards definitely pushing as he was sideways off of turn 2.
Mason Johnson runs third with Josh Kosick, 4th. JP Bergeron, your points leader, runs 5th. Hunter Harriet runs 6th. Braxton DeWeese 7th with Chad Miller. Carter Russo into 9th, and Reagan Parent runs 10th.
Mason Johnson in the broadcast, Jeff. He's running 3rd, and somehow he's in the broadcast as well. He said that Bladen Edwards went too early. He wasn't in the box, and as you explained to them and explained to me, that once that pace car leaves, he can go at any time. So Bladen Edwards was able to control the restart anywhere through turns 3 and 4 because the pace truck leaves in turn 3. So technically Mason Johnson incorrect. He's able to go at any point through turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, a little bit different the way we do things here. It's once the pace car leaves pit road. We've tried the restart box thing, and it usually ends up a disaster. So we kind of leave it on the leader, let them kind of figure out where they feel comfortable going. And right now, Bladen Edwards out front. But I tell you what, Mark Keatman is stalking the 72, and he is starting to, inch forward lap by lap here. Keatman's showing a lot of speed, and I know Bladen Edwards had that quick time award, but that 2-car, we saw last week just how fast he was at Nashville when he won there.
Oh,
we got trouble. Boom.
Spinner. Jacob Bohm sitting down on the inside of turn number 2.
And that's finally going to trigger a yellow. He sat there for a bit. He was kind of just stuck there. There's nothing he can do. He's trying to back up now, but...
I'm trying to figure out. Oh, Jeff, it's time for you to sing. This is an all by myself moment in the 30 car. As Jacob just cooked her into turn 1 just a little bit too hard, and the car just came around on him. Ends up stuck, and we'll see. Because he had no time whatsoever. He was running right towards the back end of the field, and they were front end of the field was starting to catch that group. So he had no time to get his car righted. Check the ticker on the left side. You can find your favorite driver. Make sure you tell us in the chat who you're rooting for. Except for you folks on YouTube, we know exactly who you're rooting for. Bladen Edwards continues to lead this race. Mark Kedeman had started to close down the gap on the 72 machine with about 30 laps remaining in this event. Kedeman looking to go back-to-back. His first 2 races with the Late Model Challenger Series in that number 2 car. That is not, I believe it's a Parker Retzlaff car. Runs an identical car in the Sarah Super Series.
Yeah, one of those drivers out of the RKM setup shop group, and Keeman, we really didn't know who he was when he showed up this first race. I really hadn't heard of him, but definitely made an impression that first start, didn't he?
Well, if he wins 2 in a row, Jeff, thinking maybe Mark Keeman
Yeah,
needed to have been vetted a little bit better.
Well, definitely, we'll be looking to move some guys up. I mean, it's getting to that point in the season where we kind of look at the field, we see who we like racing. And, you know, it's not all speed; it's about racecraft, right? Who gets to go to Monday nights, and we like to see these guys run in traffic, see how they race, and then we make the decision. As we are set to go back to double file restarts here, we got a nice green flag run in, and now Bladen Edwards, Mark Keatman, going to be side by side for this lap 91 restart. Time is. Bill, as you say, it's getting where the price of poker's going up here.
Yeah, big gap, but to the third row there, JP Bergeron and Hunter Harriet really didn't pack up with the field, but here we go back to Green Flag Racing. Single file through your top 4. First battle on the racetrack, going to be that Bergeron and Harriet battle. Now JP Bergeron going to win, and that one is now Braxton DeWeese gets to the inside of Hunter Harriet. He's going to look for the 6th spot.
Here comes Carter Russo going around Chad Miller as well. So move Russo up into the 8th position. Braxton DeWeese and Hunter Harriet, they cannot settle this. Hunter Harriet got up the racetrack. He's got a chance now, but he didn't take it, and now Carter Russo's there challenging him.
Big dark cloud comes over the Las Vegas Bullring. Now Hunter Harriet's going to find his way in line. They'll be single file. That is tight racing through that group of cars. A little bit farther back, Jeff, we've got a hornet's nest back here.
Yeah, it is getting to the point you can't give up anything now. If you have a chance, go to the front. Tire wear is not going to be an issue. And now we got trouble. Travis Roma's going around off the front bumper of the 12. Tony Quadros gets together with a 39, and now the 50 of Craig Tolley went around as well.
That was the hornet's nest I was talking about. Somebody got stung. Just a 3 wide move as Tony Quadros came off of turn number 4. Looked to make the move on Travis Roma. I mean, he was to the bumper cover down the front straightaway. And they went down into turn number 1 and just made contact, and that's going to be...
Yeah, it's one of those ones we hate to see. I mean, this is a battle for 24th. I don't know. Do you need to be 3 wide for 24th spot?
That's a battle for 22nd, Jeff. Don't discount those 2 positions. Now, granted, that's 22nd out of about 40 drivers that showed up to race tonight. So 38, 35, somewhere in there. But yeah, do you need to be 3 wide there? I mean, let's just have fun racing, right? I mean, back off, let that happen in front of you, and then attack, because Craig Tully, we know, is going to be up the racetrack.
Yeah, it's kind of one of
those.
Let
Roma go through, and then, you know, start your own battle with the 50 car. Trying to pick up 2 for 1 there on the Bullring, as tight as this place is, I don't know. I just don't know if I make that decision if I'm the 12 car.
Yeah, it's just at this point in the race where you're at on the racetrack. I mean, you're not winning this race. I mean, you're so far back this late. It's just not a move that's really needed. And I think that's what we've been hearing from a lot of the drivers. The guys racing up front, they're saying, "Hey, why are you guys wrecking back there? You know, when it's not your night, it's not your night. You don't need to be causing yellows." And that's where a lot of the frustration has come from with the cautions that we've seen tonight.
Sometimes there's contact, but contact 3 wide for 22nd on lap 97, that one, like, let's put ourselves in a headspace that makes sense. You know what I mean? That's kind of where we should be with that one. And again, Bladen Edwards, for some reason, has decided he needs to be inside the pace truck. Mark Keedeman's had enough of it. He's just going to pull right up to his door and start yelling at him from helmet to helmet.
Well, Bladen Edwards, Mark Keatman on that front row. And again, Bladen, now that pace truck is off the racetrack, it is up to Bladen Edwards where to go. He's gone early, and nobody's really been able to catch up with him here. Is Mark Keatman going to be under fire from Mason Johnson here for the 2nd spot?
That was masterful from Bladen Edwards. He got a fantastic jump as he controls it all the way through the corner. big advantage to your leader if he's able to do that. And now contact, Hunter Harriet, JP Bergeron went banging down the back straightaway. And now Josh Kosick sideways on the high side, and he's going to struggle to get down into turn number 1. Kosick still trying to hang on. JP Bergeron just did a we're yellow. Where did that happen?
Caution wave to the back of the field was Jacob Bohm that went around. And I think it was a self-spin there from the 30 machine.
The 30 car might be broken. That's his second self-spin. He did not have that issue before in the B main, although I think he gets into the back of Roma. It's possible as well. Everybody check, he does. Everybody checks up and he just drives in the back of the 38 car again. Running 24th. But it's tough back there. Everybody checks up, man. It is tough back there.
Last car on the lead lap there, and that is going to get Tony Quadros a lucky dog. So the 12 machine back on the lead lap in 25th. Still 25 cars running in this one, and things were getting exciting up there at the front as JP Bergeron and Josh Kosick were having a duel there. Kosick made that move to the bottom, and JP, he had to give room, and he got bailed out by that caution because he was going to be in a bad spot on the outside line.
Yeah, I was just about to say, JP Bergeron maybe made the nicest move that I have ever seen on iRacing as he saw Kosick struggling. In my mind, I hadn't seen the caution, and he gave Kosick, like, you know, a ton of room. I wanted to say a lot of room. I didn't know how to put that. A boatload of room on the top where he just drove up the racetrack. I didn't realize the yellow was out. He didn't care at that point. But I thought he was giving him a ton of room. It also was getting pretty exciting up front, Jeff, is Blade Edwards had gotten such a nice restart. He pulled Mason Johnson into second place, but of course now, as long as I believe we're going to get a double file restart, Mason Johnson's going to have to start on the high side, and now Mark Keedeman to the bottom. And that's just what we're going to keep seeing, that flip-flop. I will say, and I know these drivers have got to be a little bit frustrated with the truck pulling off and turning. There is such a huge distance that Blade Edwards can go that is so hard as the outside driver to get any kind of restart. However, do not think Mark Keedeman did a very good job last time, as he was way behind by the time they got to the start-finish line.
Well, yeah, now Mason Johnson's going to have to try to figure it out. His pace car going to head off the racetrack back into the BSRM restart zone for Blade Edwards, Mason Johnson, Mark Keedeman, JP Bergeron, Josh Kosick. We are back green flag racing. And again, Johnson didn't get a great restart. Here comes Keedeman looking for second.
I just called it. Keedeman to the inside of Mason Johnson. Mason Johnson's going to have to try to defend for third. Here comes Josh Kosick in the 2. He's going to chop off. Mason Johnson chopped Kosick off, and Kosick did not give him any room, and that's going to stack a lot of race cars. Kosick lets it roll across the racetrack, catches Caleb Hill.
Looks like Reagan Parent, your second place in points involved. JP Bergeron almost involved in that. Got together with Hunter Harriet as they got around the wreck. They were able to hold on to it. They saved it, so that was a big moment for JP Bergeron, your points leader. And Braxton DeWeese caught up in that as well, so just a big moment there. To me, you know, the 2 car drove that in so deep from further back.
Well, let's just take a look here. Mason Johnson, 100%. I mean, he's 100% clear down the back straightaway. I don't know, and he's clearly not on the top line anymore.
Yeah, to me, that looks like Kosick just from so far back tried to dive bomb turn 3 on Mason Johnson.
Yeah, I hate to say that. At first I didn't think so, but I just think Mason Johnson's no longer on the top line, and Kosick just slams her in there. And he doesn't even need to make contact. He was never alongside down the back straightaway. I mean, he gets in there so hard, Jeff, when he does hit the brakes, the car wiggles.
Yeah, he had to make an evasive mover down to the apron because he sent it off so hard into the corner. He ended up way down the racetrack on the apron down there.
Watching from his in-car, I feel a little bit worse about that decision. But, I mean, his spotter's got to be telling him clear, 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 and then he just drives it down in there.
Well, that collected a lot of good cars because Braxton DeWeese was in the top 10, Mason Johnson in the top 5, Kosick was in the top 5. They are all going to go to the rear of the field here. So reset this thing. Bladen Edwards, Mark Keatman, JP Bergeron, Hunter Harriet, Chad Miller back into the top 5. Carter Russo from 18th to 6th. Blake Thronberg up to 7th.
Reagan Parent has made his way into the top 10. He's in 8th. JJ Chansey in 9th. Aaron Abendroth, he's rallying just a bit as he's coming back forward. He's back into the top 10 in the 65 car. AJ Rogers, Brad Carpenter, Dylan Schreiner. Dylan Schreiner, that's the best place he's been running all night. William Griffith and Cody Bohm round out your top 15.
Well, here we go, single file, because they did not complete a lap there on that restart. Bladen Edwards, Mark Keatman, JP Bergeron, and Keatman, again, just not able to keep pace. Ooh, sideways for Hunter Harriet coming off turn 4, able to gather that one up. But that pace starting early is really throwing these guys off on these restarts. Bladen Edwards out front of Mark Keatman running second. 114 down in this 125 lapper. Looks like Chad Miller is on the move. He has caught Hunter Harriet. Harriet's car starting to get real loose. Some damage to the right front of that machine. It looks like Chad Miller's getting ready to make a move here for 4th.
We're about to hit 10 laps to go, Jeff. And now Bladen Edwards starting to see a lap car. Josh Kosick struggling in the number 2 as he's starting to get caught by the rest of the field. That number 2 has some big damage to the left rear.
Yeah, Kosick's night. He's gone from bad to worse right now as he is off the pace. Battle for Chad Miller and Carter Russo. Now Blake Thronberg going to dive to the bottom here.
Thronberg to the inside of Carter Russo. Carter Russo having a good showing in his first night in the series. Right now, he's under fire from Blake Thronberg and Reagan Parent. There's JJ Chansey in the 2 as well. They'll be side by side. Reagan Parent going to go to the inside of Russo. He'll take that position away. Here comes JJ Chansey. This is a battle for 9th. Actually, make it 8th, Jeff. These guys are doing great.
Yeah, Reagan Parent on the move, trying to gain some points here as JP Bergeron runs up in the top 10, or top 5 rather. Aaron Abendroth just got sideways off turn 4. AJ Rogers going to try to take advantage here.
Russo, JJ Chansey, they're still battling. That is that battle for 8th. Now Aaron Abendroth up the racetrack. AJ Rogers is going to go by.
Chad Miller making a move to the outside, or Hunter Harriet for the 4th spot. Miller going to try to make this work. Harriet fighting back, but the AT machine is just really struggling. Now they make some contact off turn 4. Chad going to try to come back to the bottom, does do the crossover.
Some beating and banging through turns 3 and 4. They beat and bang again through turns 1 and 2. Now Chad Miller's got the advantage in the 46 car. Here comes Blake Thronberg. He was able to catch that duo, and they'll make contact. Hunter Harriet and Thronberg make contact down the front straightaway.
Well, time is starting to take away Bladen Edwards out front, but he's kind of caught behind a lap car with Josh Kosick here. But Mark Keatman just not able to make any progress on the 2 machine, or the 72 of Bladen Edwards out front.
Reagan Parent makes the move around Hunter Harriet. Hunter Harriet in trouble. Here comes Carter Russo in the 21. He'll make the move as well. Harriet going to try to find his way in line and just barely does so. He's going to try to undercut Carter Russo. He does the crossover down the front straightaway.
Hunter Harriet, Carter Russo battling for the 7th position. But right now, it's all Bladen Edwards. It's about half a second over the 2 of Mark Keatman as he is on the white flag lap coming down the back straightaway. No need to try to go around the 2 car. And here we go. He's going to get the checkered flag. Bladen Edwards going to win tonight's B&A Signs Bullring 125. Mark Keatman finishes 2nd. JP Bergeron going to finish 3rd.
Bladen Edwards, your winner. Chad Miller came home 4th. Blake Thronberg 5th.
Reagan Parent going to pick up a 6th place finish tonight. JJ Chansey 7th. Carter Russo from 18th to 8th. I think is going to get the, no, maybe not quite the Adobe Mountain Speedway Hard Charger Award because AJ Rogers finishes 9th. Brad Carpenter from 22nd to 10th. I think that's going to be our Hard Charger right there. Cody Bohm from 23rd to 11th tonight. Aaron Abendroth finishes 12th. Dylan Schreiner 13th. Kieran Church 14th. Jason Warren 15th. Travis Roma 16th. Tony Quadros, Craig Tolley, William Griffith, Mason Johnson, your top 20. Braxton DeWee's going to finish 21st with Jacob Boehm, Caleb Hill, Josh Kosick, Hunter Harriet, and Lee Norton, your 26 starters tonight's main event.
So a solid race at the end there, Jeff, as we had a nice little green flag run to finish this one off. Bladen Edwards. Boy, oh boy, he's had a pretty good night. I guess you could say he swept it, right, Jeff? He was the Wisconsin Wings and Walleyes Quick Time Award winner in that 72 car, and then drives to the front after a 6-car invert and wins tonight's race. What a performance by the former Late Model Challenger Series champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bladen Edwards going to join us in the broadcast booth. And Bladen, max points tonight. That's what you needed. You showed up, you set fast time. You got a little help there. The invert was 6. Somebody had to move back from the front row, moves you up to 4th, but just a masterful drive to the front. And it seemed like you had everyone's number there at the end.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was a fun race, but you know, people, the restarts are so like key to this track. I mean, like I could go anywhere between 3 and 4, so I took advantage of it, and it just worked out. I was able to stay out front, even with the lap car blocking me at the end.
We'll talk about those restarts a little bit, Bladen. We were kind of talking about it during the broadcast that you had the opportunity to go anytime that pace truck left the racetrack. On the restarts, what were you thinking? Were you thinking to vary from the previous restart, or maybe give them a double up because they think you were going to vary? How do you decide when you want to go?
My biggest thing is just to be unpredictable, so I change it up every restart. I mean, we have like what 6, 7 of them, I think. I fired in a different point at every restart, so just trying to stay unpredictable to keep him from getting to my bumper because he would have moved me. But but yeah, it was just.
Well, Bladen, this is gonna be your second win of the season, and now that's 2 bonus points. If you make it in the top 8, you race for this playoff. That's 2 bonus points in the playoffs. How much does that give you confidence going into the playoffs that you might have a run at the championship here?
It's just a huge confidence boost. Just knowing that I have those extra points to help me out in case I have like kind of a bad night. So it's just like a kind of like a cushion, I guess.
Talk about the strategy tonight, Blaine. We've talked to people about these short tracks. Did you have any thought to any kind of tire saving? Because we've heard that the short tracks, when it's something like this, where you're running 125 laps on a pretty small racetrack, the tire saving doesn't come into as much play as it would at one of the larger high speed racetracks. Was that just a all out race for you tonight, or were you doing any saving at any point?
I was never really going like full on until like the last couple of restarts. I was just trying to, because we had a couple of decent, like I think it was 2 20-lap runs, and I was able to just ride because I had to lead, just ride and pace myself off of Keatman. I was really just riding until those last 2 or 3 restarts, and then I was just on it.
Well, Bladen, we're heading into South Boston next week, so we're sticking to the short tracks. So does that give you a little bit of a boost as well? That now that you know, like that you're comfortable on these type of racetracks, and you're going to be one to beat.
Yeah, yes, but South Boston has always been one of my worst tracks. Don't know why. I cannot get that place down in any car anywhere. So it's like, hopefully I can run good, but it's just a matter like if I show up that night. And I hope I do because I like that track, but I cannot do good there.
Well, Blaine, let's talk about it. Where does the confidence level stand? We know you've been a late model Challenger Series champion. The confidence level was high when that happened, and you kind of got away from the running the late model, the short track stuff, and you kind of you and I had a conversation about how you kind of forgot how to drive short tracks. How do you feel right now? Obviously, 2 wins now you've banked in the late model Challenger Series. You got to feel like you're getting back to that Bladen that can win this title this season.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I've been putting a lot of laps in, running laps with Peyton, because he's, a competitive guy in the shootout series. So he runs up front every week, and he's been teaching me, how to run these arc lines, how to save tires, just little tips and tricks on where I can be better. So it's like, I gotta really thank him for helping me out there. If I didn't have him around, I probably wouldn't have won tonight, just because I wouldn't have known those extra little things.
Well, Bladen, before we let you go, we kind of, you just kind of thank Peyton Howell there, but is there anybody else you want to thank that helps you out with your sim racing and getting up to speed in these cars?
And I want to thank the Mohawk Foundation, Dusty Beats, gifts and collectibles, if I can speak. Martin Sports, Peyton Howell again with the H52 photography, and you guys for the good league and the broadcast.
All right, Bladen, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Second win of the season. Congratulations. You're off to a fantastic start.
Thank you.
Well, Mark Keatman going to join us now in the broadcast booth, our second place finisher. And Mark, it seemed like you had a little bit of speed there, but the restart, so it was just so hard for anybody to figure out what Bladen was doing, where he was going to go, and having that inside line just seemed like such a big advantage to 3 and 4 that nobody else could really hang with them there.
Yeah, I think if we would have actually restarted somewhat close to regular restart zone, it would have been a little bit different story. But when it takes, 10, 15 laps to try to run the guy down, you're running as hard as you can, trying to get back up there. You burn your tires up, but there was no outside line. And then, I mean, being out front, honestly, was the best thing for Bladen. Like I said, I think the restarts would have went a little different. I probably would have had more for him, but I mean, props to him. I was a little disappointed that, he's trying to run us all the way up the racetrack. But I mean, I guess it is what it is.
Well, Mark, there was a point going down towards the end of that race, probably, I guess, what it was about 3 cautions to go. You looked like you were about to run down Bladen and possibly give him a shot for the win, but after that, really you weren't able to mount a challenge. At that point in the race, did you think you were going to be able to get by him and you had the car to beat?
If I could have got close enough, maybe. But like I said, I mean, he gets such a great jump starting there and literally in the entrance of turn 3, and it takes so long to attempt to run him back down that you burn your tires up. So I mean, I really don't know. It would have had to have happened for me to know. So
Well, Mark, we talked to Bladen about confidence, and it's at an all-time high for him with the second win of the season. But you come into this is your second race in ITZR, and you now have a career average finish of 1.5. So I feel like your confidence has got to be pretty high going into South Boston next week, right?
yeah, South Boston should be a pretty fun track to race at. I usually don't test for these things or anything. The only testing I get is the hour of practice we get. So I guess maybe I should work on my qualifying effort a little bit. Seems I qualify about 8th or 9th, and I'm there at the end.
Well, Mark, talk about it. This is your second race of the season with this series, and now you're one. Finish first, finish second. What is the goal here? So, what would you like to see happen? And obviously, you're looking to get up to Monday night to battle with those guys. Is that something you're looking to do? And if you do make it up there, how do you think you would do with the shootout series guys?
If I was in the shootout series, I mean, there's definitely some tough competition in that series. It would just all depend. I feel like I'm only 23, but I feel like the more time goes on that I'm on the service, the faster I get. Uh, and I got Ryan Kuhn. He's a great coach. Has helped me so much just progressing through here the last few months. I think I could probably be at least a top 5, maybe top 7 to 10, solidly. Maybe if some luck went our way, we could win a couple of them.
Did you hear that, Jeff? That's a gauntlet. That's what that's known as,
Yeah,
a gauntlet.
absolutely. Well, Mark, you mentioned Ryan Kuhn and the RKM setup shop on the side of the car there. Is there anybody you want to thank? Anybody that helps you out with your iRacing? I know it takes a lot of people, especially when you're bouncing back and forth from fixed setup to open setup stuff.
Yeah, just Ryan, as always, he's such a great help teaching me things that I would have never known. Justin Brooks for that great paint scheme we got on the car here. All my friends and family who support me, knowing that I can't race in real life, so this is the way I get my name out there. ITZR and you guys here in the broadcast booth for putting this all on. Hoping that we can put on a good show for y'all.
Well, Mark, it definitely was a good show. You guys had a couple really good green flag runs, and And there was some fantastic racing all throughout the field. So you guys did a great job. You definitely passed a lot of cars tonight, and it was a fun one to watch. We look forward to seeing how South Boston goes. We know that place can be pretty darn racy. As far as outside lines go, that's might be the best track of the year as far as passing on the outside.
Yeah, I honestly wish we could get a rescan of South Boston, as it's changed. Actually, been repaved here in the last few years or so. So the current version that we have really isn't up to date. And the outside isn't as good as it should be, but you can definitely make some passes there. But I think if you're on the bottom, that's going to be the way to go, no doubt.
Well, we can't wait to see you next week at South Boston. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations. I mean, you're on a hot streak right now. You came in, you got a first and a second. Can't wait to see how the rest of the season goes for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping to. I guess we're basically just trophy hunting here. I thought it was a win and you're in situation for the playoffs, but we're pretty deep in the points, so we're just gonna go out here and try to win these next few races till the end of the season. Hopefully, I get that call up to the Elite Series there.
All right, Mark. We'll be looking forward to seeing you on Tuesdays and possibly Mondays in the coming weeks.
Yeah, guys, thanks.
Well, now our third place finisher going to join us, JP Bergeron. And JP, we're getting used to talking to you. We've kind of talked to you almost every week. You are having a very consistent season and another third place finish tonight. But it's got to start to get in your mind that, hey, I just can't seem to win one of these things. And if you want to win the championship, it's probably going to take a win, right?
Yeah, exactly. It usually takes a win. Usually you're not leading the points like halfway through the season without a win, but somehow we're doing it. I thought tonight was going to be tonight. Bullring is usually one of my really strong tracks in my racing. But once I lost the lead, and stuck on the outside in the restart, it quickly became a nightmare for me, and I had to run really hard trying to keep up with the guys while I was stuck on the outside. And I think the right front didn't really agree with me down there, and it kind of that really affected me in the end, especially that we didn't have any long runs to the end of the races. I feel it wasn't really good because I was kind of strong on the long run, so I was wishing to go back green at least for like a 15 or 20 laps run, but obviously didn't happen.
And the move where you lost the lead, JP, obviously for a moment there it looked like you were going to be the car to beat, and then you got past the lead. Do you think there was anything you could have done differently to try to defend the lead at that moment, or were you possibly in kind of a save mode and didn't want to burn it up?
I was in kind of a save mode. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to lose the lead. It happens, and then I saved even more for a while once I was falling back a bit, because I mean at that point there wasn't any way I was going to make back on the outside or anything. So I tried to save my right front there for a while, then tried to push back, but I feel like even if I tried saving, it's like I didn't have enough at the end. So yeah, I would have to to look back at my racecraft on this race. Definitely, I think a rookie racecraft move, but we'll get back on top of it. At least I think we're gonna keep the points lead or really close with a 72. But I feel bad about this one. I really wanted to win it.
Well, JP, we heard from you. You were doing some testing with the Pinty Series car, and I know your guys' season up there in Canada should be starting pretty soon. What's up next for you as far as racing goes in the NASCAR Pinty Series?
Actually, I'm gonna have a really short night because I'm leaving at 3 a.m. to go and test Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in near Toronto. I'm in the Montreal area, so I'm about 4 hours out. We'll be testing tomorrow around noon there with the road course car to prepare for Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in 2 weeks. But we'll be racing our first oval race of the season at Sunset Speedway this coming Saturday.
Holy cow! So we won't keep you any longer, JP. You got to go to bed. But before you do, give a shout out to the team, everybody you want to thank tonight.
Yeah, well, big thanks to the whole Revelry crew for reminding me when I got a race, because I always forget about these Tuesday night races, especially this one. I was preparing my stuff for tomorrow, and then it's like, oh shoot, I gotta run this race. I'm leading the points. So thanks for the reminder. But we'll continue and try to get a win for the Revelry crew, and we'll try and get a good lead in the championship. I think we have like 6 races left, so it's a good thing to come. We'll have a good battle with the 72 and the 17, but we'll see from there. And have a good one, guys.
All right, JP, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. Thanks for racing tonight. We know you're super busy, but we look forward to seeing you the rest of the season. Good luck this weekend as well in the Pinty Series.
Well, thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
Well, Bill and JP, I always have to remind them. It was about 8:45. I didn't see JP in the server, and I just sent him a little message on Facebook like, this is your weekly race reminder. You're supposed to be driving right now.
Yeah.
And then he jumps in the server. So
NASCAR series drivers, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah. So JP Bergeron might leave the points. It's going to be tight. I don't know. We're going to have to add up the points, but Blade Ness with that second win and those 5 bonus points. And this week with the drop week kicking in, it's going to be anybody's fight at the top of the board. So we'll see how that one plays out. Bill, that is a wrap for us for tonight for the BNA Science 125, but we are not done for the week because Sarah is coming up on Thursday night, and that is the, what is that? The Studio 10 Wraps 125 from North Wilkesboro Speedway. It's kind of a cool time to have North Wilkesboro because we got this big Cars Tour race coming up there, the NASCAR All-Star race. I think everybody's high on North Wilkesboro right now.
Oh, and I think the Sim Auto Racing Association 100% did that on purpose. They did the same thing for the Hickory Cars Tour race, so they're keeping their eye on the prize down up there at the Sim Auto Racing Association. So we'll get to see a preview of what you're going to see next week at the real North Wilkesboro Speedway on Thursday night as the Sim Auto Racing Association Super Series heads to North Wilkesboro, the 86th North Wilkesboro, Jeff. So a little bit different, but that should be pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you go out on like Twitter or Facebook and look at the photos from the North Wilkesboro Speedway of what they've done with that place. It is incredible. That track looks so nice now. From the photos I've seen, 2-3 years ago when it was the Lost Speedway, I mean, it's amazing what they've done. So cool that racing is fighting back there in the Carolinas, around your neck of the woods, Bill. They're getting the tracks all prettied up out there, aren't they?
That's right. I went to North Wilkesboro twice last season, and now they've done a whole lot more. So I cannot wait on Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday night next week, Jeff. We'll watch it on Flow Racing. Watch that Cars Tour event with all those NASCAR stars in that race, including my favorite Dale Earnhardt Jr. So that'll be fun to watch. But before we do that, Thursday night, we're going to do some Sarah Super Series racing at North Wilkesboro Speedway. And I don't have any favorites in that race, Jeff. I just want to talk about it.
Absolutely. And then Monday night, we'll be back in action with the Elite Performance Industries Late Model Shootout Series with the Toyota Volkswagen of Worcester South Boston 125. And again, Tuesday night for the Challenger Series, another Toyota Volkswagen of Worcester South Boston 125. Going to be a lot of racing next week. 2 races. Sarah will have an off week. So Thursday night, we'll be back in action. A little bit later start time. What is it? About 9 p.m. Eastern we go live? 10 p.m. Eastern?
For the Sarah Super Series is about 10 p.m. Eastern, correct.
Yeah, a little bit later than you're used to with ITZR, but we will be live on the In the Zone Racing Facebook page along with the Sim Auto Racing Association Facebook page. Make sure you like our page, like their page, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitch, and we will see you Thursday night.